Chapter 11. Sai as Shagun Brahmin, Dr. Pandit's worship, Haji Siddiq Falke, control over the elements. Let us now in this chapter describe the manifested Brahman Sai. Now he was worshipped and how he controlled the element. Sai as Shagun Brahmin. There are two aspects of God or Brahman. The first one is the unmanifested, that is Nirgun, and the second one is the manifested, that is the Shagun. The Nirgun is formless while the Shagun is with form. Though both denote the same Brahman, some prefer to worship the former, some the latter. As stated in the Gita, the worship of the latter is easier and preferable. As man has got a form, that is body, senses, etc., it is natural and easy for him to worship the God with form. Our love and devotion do not develop unless we worship Shagun Brahman for a certain period of time. And as we advance, it leads us to worship of Nirgun Brahman. So let us start with Shagun Brahman, image, altar, fire, light, sun, water, Brahman are the 7 objects of worship. But Sadguru is better than all these. Let us on this occasion bring to our mind the form of Sai, who was non-attachment incarnate and who was a resting place for his wholehearted devotees. Our faith in his words is the seat of asan, and our sankalpa, that is determination to finish the puja, start and finish the puja, is the abandonment of all our desires. Some say that Sai was a Bhagavad Bhakta, that is devotee of the Lord. Others say he was a Maha Bhagavat, that is a great devotee. But to us he is a God incarnate. He was extremely forgiving, never irritable, straight, soft, tolerant, and content beyond comparison. Though he looked embodied, he was really disembodied, emotionless, unattached, and internally free. The Ganges on its way to the sea cools and refreshes the creatures affected with heat, gives life to the crops and trees, and quenches the thirst of many. Similarly, saints like Sai, while they live their own life, give solace and comfort to all. Lord Krishna has said that the saint is my soul, my living image, I am he is my pure form. This is indescribable Shakti or power of God known as pure existence, knowledge and bliss, incarnated in the form of Sai in Shirdi. The Shruti describes Brahman as bliss. This we read or hear daily in the books, but the devout people experience this Brahman or bliss in Shirdi. Baba, the support of all, required no proper support from anybody. He always used a piece of sackcloth for his seat, which was covered with small beautiful bed by his bhaktas and had a bolster placed by him as a rest to take his bag. Baba respected the feelings of his devotees and allowed them to worship him as they liked. Some waved chamara or fans before him, some played musical instruments, some washed his hands and feet, some applied scent and chandan, some gave betel nuts with leaves and other things, and some others offered naivedya. Though he looked like living in Shirdi, he was present everywhere. This all-pervasiveness of his way daily experienced by his devotees. Our humble prostration to this all-pervasive Sadguru. Dr. Pandit's worship. One Dr. Pandit, a friend of Tatyasaheb Nulkar, once came to Shirdi for Baba's darshan. After saluting Baba, he stayed in the masjid for some time. Baba asked him to go to Dabat Khelkar. He went to Dabat, by whom he was well received. Then Dabat left his house for puja and Dr. Pandit accompanied him. Dabat worshipped Baba. Nobody until then dared to apply sandal paste to Baba's forehead. Only Mahasabhati used to apply it to his throat. But this simple-hearted devote, Dr. Pandit, took Dabat's dish containing puja materials and taking sandal paste out of it drew a tripundra, that is 3 horizontal lines on Baba's forehead. To the surprise of all, Baba kept silent without uttering a single word. Then Dabat that evening asked Baba, "How is it that though you object to the sandal paste being applied by others to your forehead, but you allowed Dr. Pandit to do so?" Baba replied that Dr. Pandit believed him to be the same as his Guru, Raghunath Maharaj of Dupeshwar, known as Kaka Puranik, and he applied the paste to his forehead as he was doing to his Guru. Hence he could not object. On inquiry, Dr. Pandit told Dabat that he took Baba as his Guru, Kaka Puranik, and hence he marked the tripundra on Baba's forehead, as he did on his Guru's head. Though Baba allowed the devotees to worship him as they pleased, still sometimes he acted in a strange way. Sometimes he threw away the puja dish and was wrath incarnate. Then who could approach him? Sometimes he scolded the devotees, at times he looked softer than wax, a statue of peace and forgiveness. Though he seemed to shake with anger and his red eyes rolled round and round, Still, he was internally a stream of affection and motherly love. Immediately, he called out his devotees and said that he ever angry with his devotees that if mother kicks their children, and if the sea turned back the rivers, he would neglect the devotees' welfare. That he, the slave of his devotees, always stood by them and responded to them whenever they called upon him, and that he always longed for their love. Haji Siddiq Falke. There was no knowing when Baba would accept a devotee. That depended on his sweet will. Siddiq Falke's story is to the point. One Mohammedan gentleman by name Siddiq Falke of Kalyan, after making a pilgrimage to Makkah and Medina, came to Kalyan after he lived in Chawdi, facing north, and sat in the open courtyard of the masjid. For 9 months, Baba ignored him and did not allow him to step inside the masjid. Falke felt much disconsolate and did not know what to do. Somebody advised him not to be disappointed but to try to approach through Shama, that is Madhavrao Deshpande, a close and intimate devotee of Baba. He told him that as they approached the god Shiva through the servant and devotee Nandi, so Baba should be approached through Shama. Falke liked the idea and implored Shama to intercede for him. Shama agreed and on a convenient occasion spoke to Baba about him thus: Baba, why don't you allow the old Haji to step into the masjid while so many people freely come and go after taking your darshan? Why not bless him once? Baba replied, Shama, you are too young to understand this. If the fakir does not allow, what can I do? Without his grace, who will climb into the masjid? Well, go to him and ask him whether he will come to the narrow footpath near the Barvi well. Shama went and returned with an affirmative answer. Again, Baba said to Shama, ask him whether he is willing to pay me the sum of 40,000 in 4 installments. Shama went and returned with the answer that he is willing to pay even 40 lakhs. Again, Baba said to Shama, we are going to butcher a goat in the masjid, so ask him whether he would like to have mutton, haunch, or testicles of goat. Shama returned with the answer that Haji would be happy to receive a small crumb from Baba's kolamba, that is the clay pot. Hearing this, Baba got excited and with his hand threw away the earthen jars and kolamba and straight advanced to Haji and lifted his kafni up with his hands and said, why do you brag and fancy yourself great and pose yourself as an old Haji? Do you read the Quran daily like this? You are proud of your pilgrimage to Makkah, but you do not know me. Being thus scolded, the Haji was confounded. Baba then went back to the masjid, purchased a few baskets of mangoes, and sent them to Haji. Then again Baba went to Haji, and taking out rupees 55 from his pocket, gave him to Haji. From that time, Baba loved the Haji, invited him for meals, and the Haji thereafter came into the masjid whenever he liked. Baba gave him at sometimes rupees, and thus the Haji was enlisted in Baba's darbar. Baba's control over the elements. We shall now close this chapter after describing 2 incidents showing Baba's control over the elements. The first one. Once at evening time, there was a terrible storm in Shirdi. The sky was overcast with thick black clouds. The winds began to blow forcefully. The clouds roared and the lightning began to flash, and the rains began to descend in torrents. In a short time, the whole place was filled with water. All the creatures, birds, beasts, and men got terribly frightened, and they all flocked to the masjid for shelter. There are many local deities in Shirdi, but none of them came to their help. So they all prayed to Baba, their god, who was fond of their devotees, to intercede and quell the storm. Baba was much moved. He came out and, standing at the edge of the masjid, addressed the storm in a loud and thunderous voice. Stop, stop your fury and the calm. In a few minutes the rain subsided, the wind ceased to blow, and the storm came to a stop. Then the moon rose in the sky, and the people went back to their home well pleased. And the second instance is, on another occasion at noon, the fire in the Duni began to burn brightly. Its flames were seen to be reaching the rafters above. People who were sitting in the masjid did not know what to do. They did not ask Baba to pour water or do anything to quench the flames. But Baba soon came to realize what was happening. He took out his satka, that is short stick, and dashed it against a pillar in front, saying, Get down, be calm. At each stroke of the satka, the flames began to lower and slow down, and in a few minutes the Duni became normal and quiet. This is our Sai, an incarnate of God. He will bless any man who will prostrate and surrender himself to him. He who will read the stories of this chapter daily with faith and devotion will soon be free from all calamities. Not only this, but always attached and devoted to Sai, he will get very soon God vision. All his desires will be fulfilled On being ultimately desireless, he will attain the supreme. Amen. Woe to Sri Sai, peace be to all.